hosting of the Orange African Cup of Nations South Africa 2013 tournament. This past weekend, of course, the big story in footballing circles, the announcement of the new Bafana Bafana coach. Well, it was an open secret called for by many South Africans. Gordon Igesund, who's had lots of success with many teams in the country, has coached 14 teams. He joins us this morning. Gordon, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. How did you hear the news? Where were you when you got the news?
No, I was here at Safa House. You know, we came on Saturday for the interviews and we all stayed afterwards and they made the announcement.
Yeah. And what was your reaction?
Well, obviously, I was very overwhelmed and I was very excited, really, to be honest with you. It was such a overwhelming experience, and I felt very privileged and honoured to be in charge of such a big asset in South African football.
It's a job you wanted.
Well, of course, I mean, it's every coach's dream to coach a national team, and I'm no different to everybody else.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about what people are saying. One of the guys who are tweeting us this morning are asking, what is the first thing that you would like to do with Bafana Bafana as you start the job?
I think there's a lot of work to be done at the moment, and my first job to do is to sit down with the executive and give him my recommendations for my technical team. That I'll be doing. I have been doing, and I will be doing in the next couple of days. And then, of course, there's work to be done with the players in the country and also the coaches in the country. I'd like to go visit them, build up a relationship with them, talk to them about their players and so on and so forth. There's so much work to be done.
Yeah. There's guys asking here whether you've got as assistants Fani Madida, Dr. Kumalo and Lucas Radebe. Is that correct?
No, there's no truth in it at the moment. As I said earlier on, I am going to give my recommendations to the executive, and we'll take it from there, but at the moment those names that I mentioned are names, and there's so many names being mentioned at the moment. There's so much speculation, but at the end of the day I've got to sit down with them and give them my technical team.
Okay, just talk a little bit about, you want to meet the coaches of the different teams. What kind of national sort of footballing vision have you got?
Well, look, I think it's important right now. We all know the enormous situation we're in at the moment, and I think the most important thing for us to do now is to prepare this team for the AFCON, and then of course to qualify for the World Cup in Brazil.
Yeah, and Brazil being your first encounter. Tsepiso 11 writes, Gordon's first game is against Brazil. Is he going to call up the same old faces that we've known, or are we going to see a change in selection?
Look, obviously there's going to be, I think, a few changes. There's obviously a lot of players in the country need an opportunity, but I think the most important thing at the moment is for the players to realise that this is our national team. It's a national asset, and we need to go out there and put the best players out every week. The players need to perform at a high level. They need to be very passionate about putting the jersey on, and we want players to fight out there. So everybody's got a chance at this point in time. There's no, for me, it's a whole new ball game. There's no, this is the squad that will come from there. I'm going to select the players that deserve to be selected.
Yeah. What has been the missing ingredient in your view with the Bafana Bafana team? Having watched the games, having been to many of the games and sometimes analysed them, what has been the missing ingredient?
I don't want to talk about what was missing before and what happened before. I can only talk about the future. And I think it's important, as I said earlier on, for the players to have a little bit more passion. I think sometimes, when I look at it, sometimes you just look at the players and you think sometimes they're in a comfort zone. They just feel that they owe this position. Nobody's owed a position in the national team. Everybody's got to earn it. Everybody's got to work very, very hard. As I said, this is a great asset in our country. It's a national asset, and we need to make sure that whenever the players go out there, they go out there with pride, with passion and commitment.
Yeah. Litemba, one of the guys tweeting us this morning, asks, why a 2-year contract and not a 4-year contract?
Well, football, especially with national teams, is normally a 4-year cycle, from World Cup to World Cup. But, I'm not too concerned about that. I've got a 2-year contract. I know what my mandate is. I know I've got no illusions about the difficult task that lie ahead. But I think together, we as a country can really achieve things. And 2 years is a short period, I know, but the World Cup is coming up in AFCON, and we just need to work together and make this happen.
Yeah, some cheeky questions coming through as well. Prince Bulo says, Mr. Igesund, hope you are aware of all the qualifying rules and requirements regarding upcoming tournaments, now that you talk about the upcoming World Cup in 2014.
Yeah, look, obviously, we've got to stay abreast of all these things and all the time. And, I'm going to put together a very good team around me, and we'll make sure that those mistakes don't happen again.
Yeah. Just in terms of team selection, I mean, is it going to be visiting teams playing locally and visiting the guys who are playing internationally? What kind of approach do you intend to take?
As I said earlier on, I think it's very important to get yourself around. As I said, I need to go to all the clubs. I want to build up a relationship with all the coaches in this country, get their input about their players, the players I'm talking about. And of course, I think it's very important to also go overseas. We've got a lot of players playing overseas. You go overseas, you visit Pino, you visit his coach, you talk to his coach, ask him, how's he getting the best out of Pino? What's Pino's best position? How do you use Pino? Or I'm just using Pino as an example, but there's other players over there as well. We've got quite a few players playing in Europe, and I think we need to really build up a relationship with the coaches overseas, because when the time comes we need a favor or we need the player to be released at an earlier date, we need to have that kind of relationship where the coach will say, you know what, I'm going to let this player go. Because sometimes I think there's always been a big problem with club versus country, but I think if you communicate properly and you have a good relationship, you can sort these problems out.
Okay. Public confidence in Bafana at the lowest possible ebb at this time. Fans listening to our conversation, what will you tell them at this time as you get this job underway?
Well, I've only been appointed on Saturday, and today's Tuesday, so obviously it's been a short period of time, but all I can say right now is we're just trying to do the right things. We're going to do our very, very best to qualify for the World Cup. I do believe it's possible, and as I said, we need their support, we need them behind us, we need them behind the team. They're definitely going to see some changes, and I'm sure they're going to see a different team out there.
All right, let's leave it at that. Congratulations. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.